And while I was planning to end this video ironically on the assumption that T-Corp Dawn would be Tremor, based on her trailer, I can't do that anymore. I bet you're here to laugh. I bet you're here to laugh at me, aren't you? But you know what? I'm not going to give you this satisfaction. This video may be titled something very mean towards myself, but I'm going to go through these kits very normally. I'm very sane and not tired. Let's look at Rodion. A new Tremor ID. Oh boy, I'm excited. Let's see if she gains she gains Tremor count on herself and gains Clash power for every Y Tremor on the target. Isn't that exciting? Okay, actually, breaking from the bit for a second, this is interesting because this is the first time we've seen this conditional since Sanct Dawn, which, man, it is underused when you think about it. But hitting after a Clash win is not a very good conditional for skill 1, actually, but it is something we've not seen for a while. And on the whole, these IDs seem to like to have Clash power, not coin power, which is also kind of bad, because Clash power is kind of objectively worse in almost every way, except for if you're on lower sanity. But there's Bind Synergy, which is cool, which is something we needed for a while. Honestly, I was hoping Maid Ryoshu would have that, but I guess we have it now, so that's nice. Even deals more damage for every X bind on the target. She actually gains coin power. They're kind of like W Corp IDs in the sense that they have their skill 3s spending their Tremor count, which honestly I don't know why they wouldn't just give us a charge ID at this point, because it's been a long time actually, and self-Tremor is... There's no real synergy for it besides Eurodiva Ryoshu and Muller Otis, so I don't know why they're insisting on doing this when they have other T-Corps to base it off of, but whatever, who cares? Self-Tremor, right? And then here's the thing Oh, you can't see my mouse. The last coin of Rodion's skill bursts Tremor. I actually need to pull this up. So in this video, we're going to notice something. You probably heard several Tremor burst sound effects. And if it wasn't obvious enough, let's look at this one. Tremor burst. Oh, look at that. What a delight. Now, in the previous ID trailer, notice how there's no Tremor burst sound effect, which is also the case for other Tremor IDs. Let me go and look at other ones. No Tremor burst sound effects. So it's actually only in the Eurodiva Ryoshu, or the Eurodiva trailer for Time Killing Time. I don't know why. But I thought to myself, okay, so these guys don't trigger Tremor burst, because it didn't have the sound effect. I was like, okay, Project Moon from now on is going to show the Tremor burst effect, or sound. But no. The rest of Rodion is interesting enough that we can cover it in Dawn. So let's look at that. Let's look at Don Quixote, who also gains Tremor count and Clash power based on Tremor count, or Tremor on the target, sorry. She also has aggro, which I honestly did not expect at all. But like the armor, I should have expected it, but just that kind of didn't click to me that she would have aggro. But I'm down for another tank, which by the way, this passive seems pretty damn good. And it kind of seems like there's not gonna be a limit. Recovering from stagger is also really, really good. So we'll see how that works out. This skill 2 is pretty standard. It's interesting that you consume Tremor from the opponent. That might be bad, because this effect is like not that good. But you get the burst, so that's nice. And then we have the skill 3, which is, you know, you gain Clash power for every Tremor on the target, bind Clash power, Tremor count coin power, inflict Tremor, you inflict the time thing, which we'll get to in a second, but only one burst. And then Tremor chain, which, let's talk about these, because this is really cool. I like this. It works kind of like the debuff that the T-Corp guys had, which is good, because I like these kind of mechanics where this says the target will not take any damage as long as the effect is active, which I'm surprised by, because I thought it'd be like 80% reduction or whatever, but no damage. All damage is stored. And if only one count is remaining, it triggers Tremor Burst after dealing 100 plus the potency times X, which we don't know yet. Stored damage is sloth damage, and you lose a count and gain a potency on every turn end. Which is really interesting. But it all comes down to what that X is. Now, I assume it'll be like 120%. But that can get really silly. And I wonder if it'll count towards Dawn's damage dealt, because that would be very silly. And then there's Tremor Chain, which lowering clash power is good, but it's not as good as reverb. And that's kind of a big downside. This is kind of like worse than decay, potentially. It will depend on how easy it is to stack up. My guess, this will be for every 10 tremor potency on the target, which is good, but again, it's not reverb. So, hi, sorry to interrupt. I actually completely forgot when I was recording this that Tremor Chain exists in the game, and it's to a max of 3 clash power down, which I imagine they will probably directly import that as it is. Now, that's not terrible, but -3 clash power versus, damage potential from either decay or reverb, it'll probably just never be worth it, sadly. And this is a conversion, not an entanglement. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see how this affects Tremor teams, if at all. Also, I really like the guard mechanic where you gain borrowed time. I think that's very cool. I assume it'll be 3 count or something like that. Yeah, the idea of using the guard to get borrowed time is really cool. I like that a lot. The fact that their Tremor exists, and well, let me pull it up, I guess. Well, I can just show it on screen. It means I have to do this, which yeah, I'll do it eventually. I need some time to grieve, and some time to reflect on my life decisions, because look, I was always gonna make a video on the time-killing time IDs. I really didn't expect them to make more Tremor stuff, especially God. And the funny thing is, I mentioned offense level down Tremor as like a joke near the end of the Everlasting follow-up, but here it is. It's basically offense level down Tremor. And what's worse, they didn't even fix the Picard Heathcliff bug. Oh, fuck me. This video ends now.